Hi, I'm Lee Bender, and I'm the Senior Technical Strategist for the Intel Alliance with Symantec. So let me give you a scenario that would set up how I would use this. Somebody calls me on the phone and tells me, I have a system that is down. I cannot recover. Simply, I might have to go visit that desk site. I might have to try to figure out some way to be able to get that user up and running. Two of the most cost-effective or cost-prohibitive factors of IT management are desk site visits and the user downtime. So with ID redirection in Intel's Vpro, I'm able to use our management console, which is the remote real-time system manager. And in the real-time system manager, I can launch this Bezier ISO. So what I do is I can launch a recovery disk from the wire that lets me be able to send it to that particular client without ever having to touch the client. It's really a simple process. All I do is trigger and say which ISO I want to send and launch the task. And I'm using, under real-time system manager, the hardware management task. From this, I have the ability to be able to launch and be able to display the process that it will go up to a certain point and then actually show it where I'm launching it. So by just clicking Run Task Now, you'll see the system power on and start to load that process. Over in the Altirirs console here, you'll notice that we have the serial over LAN session window. This will work up until the point that we reach a graphical interface. And that's one of the reasons why we use PC Anywhere, and you will see that happening here in just a short while. So we are just waiting for this to actually start loading that process. We're going to start booting up. We're going to click that and press our key to get that started. And then we're going to launch right into that WinPE environment and let this Bezier disk load. All this is happening automatically, thereby making me so I don't have to touch the physical box. So you'll see that we're right now that we have fullished the load process, which means we've sent the line over we've sent the full data over the wire, and now we're just loading the operating system up. So it's the standard, if you have noticed, it's a standard kind of Vista boot process. So we're using the Vista version of PE for this particular ISO. It doesn't have to be that version. It can really be any version of WinPE. It's really where some of the power is, again, that to be able to let somebody create their own. People do this with Linux. They do it with Win98. They use DOS. So depending on really what you want to do, you can use pretty any operating system you want. So you'll see that at this point we're starting network services. We are loading up the next things necessary process on our wonderful Symantec splash screen, giving us that opportunity to load the things in the background. Once this whole process finishes, I will be able to jump to the PC Anywhere console and be able to get right into that box as if I was physically there. Remember again that we are loading the console from the network. So we are actually loading this process, and it all occurred over the network. So this is not something that is local. I mean, we can even show no strings attached, that there is no disk in there. Well, we already have the Bezier disk now loaded, essentially through ID redirection, and kind of highlight some of the principles that we have is down here in the corner. I'll actually jump to the client here so you can see it. There is a PC Anywhere thin host that is loaded there, simply allowing us to be able to have the ability to be able to pull a graphical view of that client. So we have that over here loading the PC Anywhere console, so you'll see that I am now working from the server console without having to touch the client. And from here, I can actually look at the individual pieces of the Bezier. From the home menu, which allows me to be able to recover the computer, allows me to be able to map a network drive, even let me load specific drivers I wanted to, all the way through to specific utilities that allow me to do things like display the partition table, edit a boot INI, be able to actually manipulate and use the disk then data that's on that particular hard drive. So I have a bunch of different options available to me. Again, the key thing to remember here is it extended the reach. That IDE redirection allowed me to extend that reach that Bezier would not normally have had without somebody visiting it or triggering in a different way. So this allows me to be able to use just one more technique to be able to make time more efficient when trying to manage and recover a system. So what we want to take away from this is the ability to be able to recognize through Vpro's technology, real-time system manager, and Symantec's Altirirs console, that you can extend the reach through ID redirection and making things a little easier to actually manage a desktop and avoid maybe a desktop visit. If you'd like to learn more, you should go to juice.altirirs.com and look up ID redirection. Also try the Vpro Expert Center.